Well, the big game is finally here, and BetOnline is your number one source for playoff football odds, stats, trends, and lines. Hey, everybody, it's the ACC, Boy Smith, Kids Academy, and of course, the great Charlie Ward. And listen, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of players, performance props, and dozens of odds, props, and info on hundreds of sports events, politics, and entertainment, you can access the world's best wagering information anytime from your desktop, on your or your mobile device at betonline.ag. So head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action going down this weekend. Just FYI, why are you betting against Patrick Mahomes? That's another conversation for another day. Just BetOnline where the game starts. Just tell them we sent you over there. They'll take care of you. I promise.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Can I move now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. You can make it round the world when it holds in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world.
You're now listening to the lead in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Fern Creek Hall of Famer Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course Mama Noise's name, Lloyd Smith. And now, it's time for Believe in the ACC.
Happy Super Bowl week, everybody. Or, depending on where you fall on the sports spectrum, happy NBA trade deadline. It's up to you. You decide what this day is to you.
I am excited for the trade deadline.
Uh-huh.
I am excited for the trade deadline. Super Bowl still another 4 days.
I'm actually very curious about the trade deadline today because there's some stuff floating in the atmosphere that will make today interesting. We'll see if anything major goes down. This could be a complete dud day, or it could be, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens by 3 p.m. today.
I got a feeling you're going to see a lot of parts move that you really haven't heard of.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Because it's hard for me to believe everybody's going to stand pat. So I think you're going to see some stuff go down. You're going to be like, what? Okay. So with that being said, that is the great Kendrick Haskins over there. I'm Lloyd Spence. And I'm at an undisclosed location. I can't tell you where I am.
Same place
I'm
you
just
always
going to say it rhymes with Ooper Soul. How about that? All right. But we're glad to be here with you today. And we got an interesting conversation that we're going to have today in regards to our beloved ACC. And I got to thinking about this because of where we are and where we're headed. And so it kind of made me think about, okay, what does tomorrow look like in the ACC? So as you noticed in the flyer, we got a hot seat there and who's going to be the next to, catch it. But also we got to look at the brand new ACC. Is coming down the pike faster than you think.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner. And so we thought we'd have a discussion about a little bit of all of it today, this morning. And so we're going to get into it. And I got some names I'm going to throw out at you guys. And I'm just curious to see what your thoughts are about these guys. Some of them maybe should be on the hot seat. Some of them, I don't know. Because we live in such a fickle society, Kendrick Haskins. One day they love you. Back then they didn't want you. Now they hot, they all on you. I mean, it's that kind of Mike Jones type vibing that gets you a little frustrated. I don't know.
I always love a good Mike Jones reference.
I listen. Anytime I can work with Mike Jones into a conversation, I'm going to do that.
Who?
I'm going to definitely do that. As Charlie Ward jumps on, looking, I don't know, he's profiling on us. I don't know what's going on right now.
He's
giving us his side view.
Looks like he went to the barbershop today.
He's definitely fresh to death. No question about it. He's definitely fresh to death. How are you doing, Charlie Ward?
Extra juices and berries.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
We hear you great. Can you hear us?
For some reason, you keep going in and out. I'm not sure why. That's been happening.
Well, we're not doing it on purpose.
Change.
How about that?
That's better.
All right. Good,
how you guys doing?
Good. We're doing great, man. We're doing great. And we're jumping in on this today's topic about what tomorrow looks like. And we're starting with the hot seat, man. We're starting with the hot seat. So I'm gonna throw some names out at you guys. And I want to start with our off-camera conversation that we were just having, because I gained a new perspective, I think, in watching the game last night. So I know that everyone wants Kenny Payne on the hot seat. I get it. There is a history and a tradition at the University of Louisville that is par excellent. It is one of the blue bloods and the success and the everything and blah, 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 blah. I get it. But watching the game last night, which, by the way, I think they were robbed of that game, or at least the opportunity to win that game. I think they were robbed. That was clearly not a goaltending. But
how do you review that? How do you review that and get it that wrong?
I have no idea. That was one of the worst calls these days in college basketball this year, because I just don't know what they saw in that call, but I digress. But what I took away from the game, and I can't wait to hear what you guys say, that team kept fighting to the very end, and they felt that loss as a team. Those two things told me, A, he hasn't lost them. B, they're engaged completely. They want to play for him. They want to play for this university. 3, he just needs time. I think as much as he may be societally and fan base on the hot seat, I think institutionally they need to leave him alone and let him keep fighting.
What I'll point out too with them, they've had so many injuries this year. They've lost big
injuries.
Just running down their roster for the season, the things that's happened to them. Trenton Flowers up and decides he wants to go pro in Australia, like 6 weeks out before the season.
Right, which was huge, by the way. That's a
huge.
massive moment, yeah.
Which is huge, and it's not really working out very well for him over there either. But
yeah, should have stayed on.
Right,
should have stayed on. Yeah.
Then you lose the big fella. He's out for the season. I think he's left campus altogether. The 7-footer that they had. JJ Trainer's out for the year. Hersey Miller is out for the year. And so then during that game last night, Tyler Johnson twisted his ankle. Luckily, he came back. When they beat Florida State, Sky Clark wasn't playing, and Hersey Miller, like I say, he's out for the season because he's having a hip procedure. And so they literally only had Tyler Johnson to play point guard when they played Florida State. And through all of these injuries, being down to I think they got 8 scholarship players or something like that. Dennis Evans was the big guy I was trying to think about. Mine was getting old. To have all of those injuries, and they are still in every game, even the games when they lose by double figures. It's because they give up a big run like midway through the first half, but then they keep fighting. They those games when they've been down by 20. Last year they lost by 30, 35. And they're only losing
I
these
think it's
games by
two
like
things,
10 or 12.
Kendrick. I think it's two things. Number one, they do give up runs, but part of that might be because there's nowhere to go. Like they don't have a bench that they can listen. As conditioned as a lot of those athletes are, there's still only so much you can do in a 40-minute period where you won't get tired and you're sucking wind at some point. So, and they're not a deep team. They're just not. They don't go legitimately 8 deep. They go 8 deep because they have to go 8 deep, not because they're legitimately 8 deep.
Yeah, he has to keep playing sand paint.
Yeah, you got to play. You got to give your guys a break somewhere.
Yeah, and then Brandon Huntley Hatfield has had a fantastic season. The games where he hasn't been in foul trouble, he has been a monster in there. He was a monster again last night. Yeah. And like at some point, even his biggest critics, which today's society is like nobody can admit they're wrong or new information can come in or whatever.
Right.
But Brandon Huntley Hatfield, the leap he has taken this year, I mean, he won't be you're not gonna make him ACC Player of the Year, but he can be in the top 10 of that voting. I mean, Brandon Huntley Hatfield has been fantastic this year, and so I'm
like
in the
to see him
camp where
come
Kenny
back,
Payne.
but
I mean, if this roster comes, if this core group comes back with Huntley Hatfield, Tyler Johnson, Sky Clark, and Trey White come back, and Mike James, and I mean they all come, and Curtis Williams, they all come back next year. You've got something. You've got something. Just add a few pieces. Just add some pieces and for some depth and all of that. But you have something there. Leave the man alone and let it develop.
I think you gotta leave him alone. I personally don't think he needs to be on the hot seat. Charlie, have we convinced you?
I mean, I'm always for the coaches that are. I mean, the man has great experience. He's been around winning programs, winning situations, and like I was just sitting there walking the dog, and I was looking at our roof, which has our screen-in porch, and it has a tear in the screen because we got our roof fixed, and the roofers, hit the screen doing their work, and I heard someone say, they should have been a little bit more careful, and I was just sitting there thinking, like, man, I'm not a roofer. Like, I've never done that.
Right.
So how can I sit there and say someone should be a little bit more careful when I've never done it? And I know that accidents happen. And so I said all that. I shared that because, people who are doing the talking, they're the ones who never been in that situation before of trying to build a team and what the team looks like.
Right.
Trying to, hold a team together when we're sitting here talking about injuries and all the different nuances that go on in this day and age. And what we have to go off of is the process. Like we talked about how they're in the majority of these games. That is a good sign when you're not winning these games, but when you're in the game and you see the team playing and gelling together, and then some of the moves that he's made because guys hadn't bought in, that is what you should be looking for, not wins and losses. You should be looking for those foundational pieces, especially early on in his career. And so we talk about veteran leadership. Kids just shared if all these guys come back, I mean, next year they're going to probably be one of the top tier teams because of just experience.
Right.
Just the experience that they've gained this year. And I mean, you never know in this day and age, you may lose a guy here or there, but you can also pick up some guys. But I just think sometimes we get so impatient with winning and someone is not winning that we force people to feel like they shouldn't be around. And it's just this whole impatient mindset in this day and age. I'm not saying that some people shouldn't be released early, but they may not have the process in place. They may have lost the locker room. They may have lost quite a few people along the way. But if you see a team that's gelling and putting, because they've been playing good basketball lately. I mean, they've been playing good basketball pretty much, the second part of the season. But lately they've been winning games and also been in a lot of games that they hadn't won. And as we talked about, that depth, that plays a big part in it as well. And then again, when you talk about winning games, if a guy gets hot on any given team, I mean, you can lose that game.
Yeah.
You know what? That was the case last night. Syracuse had a guy get hot last night, and I mean, and that was that case mixed with some questionable officiating in the stretch. The goaltending call was horrible. It was also a foul they caught on Trey White that was just out of nowhere. But that being said, I mean, they still had plenty of opportunities to win that game. I mean, Scott Clark still had a shot at the end of the game to try to win it. But I mean, they, like Charlie said, and like Charlie has always said, he's been consistent with it. If the team is playing for the coach, they're in all these games, then what's the problem? Yeah, you're not winning, but it's also a rebuild. We knew this was going to be a rebuild. As long as the players are not quitting on the coach, that should hold more weight than what Joe Blow fan over here is talking about. And like when you're interviewing the players, they express their love for KP without you even asking. You don't even have to ask. They love that man. And so
here's what's interesting.
They love him. And like Charlie said, if most of them come back, you got a super experienced club coming back next year.
Absolutely. Well, here's the other thing, too, just to piggyback on what you both just said. Charlie, I love your roofer analogy, because here's the thing. Traditionally, Kenny Payne is not a roofer either. He's been a supply getter for the roof. That's been his job. Now he's been the best to ever do that, one of the best to ever do that, to go get the supplies. This is the first time he's ever had to actually build the roof. And so he's also learning what it takes to build a roof and not make mistakes and tear up people's screens and all of those different things like that. And that's taking some time. And so he's making his mistakes as well, but he's not making the kind of mistakes that don't build roofs. And so I think he's doing it. I honestly saw something the last 3 or 4 games where I can look at that and objectively say, he's figuring it out. He's starting to figure it out. Leave him alone. He's getting it. Let's see how the rest of the season plays out. As long as those kids stay as engaged as they are, I think he deserves to have his moment in the sun.
I tell you what, you two are killing it with these roof analogies.
Well, I like the roof analogy. It was very good.
So, y'all both are fantastic with that one.
Well, speaking of doing things that are unexpected, he unexpectedly beat Florida State the other day, and it brought me to Leonard Hamilton. Now, I didn't put Leonard Hamilton on this hot seat list because he deserved to be on here. I put him on this list because I wonder how much of this does he want to keep doing.
Right. I wonder the same thing. How much longer?
Because at some point, he's been there a long time. I think, 86? He got there at 86? Is that what it was?
He has nothing else to prove.
He's been here for 22 years, I think.
So just slightly above 86. Okay. So at what point do you go, okay,
86, I think he was at UK in 86, I think.
Was it 86? Maybe it's 96. He's been there a long time.
It was like 2000 something.
Okay. So the point I'm making is I wonder how much longer he wants to keep doing this.
Right.
And he 17 and 14 in 22, 9 and 23 last year, now 13 and 9. It's a grind, man. It's a grind. And I know as a coach, you probably, especially with the success that he's seen, you probably start to think, okay, am I still as effective as I used to be? Is this generation listening like they used to listen? Do I still want to keep trying to compete with this NIL craziness?
Right.
Like, you start to question a lot of those things. So I'm just wondering. And so I thought I would ask somebody connected to Florida State what their thoughts were about where do you think his mindset is as it relates to everything that's going on?
Why did I come into like focus?
I don't know, because you got FSU across your jacket.
I was gonna say because I just saw you on the court the other day doing the Seminole stuff. That's probably why. Probably why you're being asked this question.
I don't know. Probably because there's a documentary of you playing in a Florida State uniform.
Several different reasons. Very valid reasons that brought you to this place. I just went from like the one of the side photos to like in the middle. And it's
right in the middle. Right in the middle. There you go.
No, I mean, you're starting to see older coaches leaving the college ranks and retire. I mean, they've been in for quite some time, and he's one. I don't know how long. I know it's getting close because you're starting to see not a decline, but you're starting to see what most older guys who are coaches kind of go through, you know, in the back end of their career where, you know, they're still right there in the middle as opposed to kind of being on top. And it's not that he doesn't have players. You know, he's lost coaches. He's developed coaches to go on and do great things. And so I just think he's, we all know he's at the end.
Oh no! There you go. All right, here he goes. There he goes.
You disappeared on us for a second.
Yeah, disappeared for just a quick second. All right.
Well, he's still recruiting. I do know that. So and he's still on recruiting calls and doing all those necessary things. So I just don't know how long he can go. And hopefully we're able to make the NCAA tournament. Yeah. But I'll just say this: if we don't make the NCAA tournament, it may be tough for him because, you know, we do have a progressive AD.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's for the coaches that are there. But if they don't make the NCAA tournament, there's going to be some tough decisions they have to make.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And it same thing happened with Coach Bowden, where, you know, he's a legendary coach. But you start to see the decline. You know, when we start losing like 4 games in a year, you were like, what's going on? You know, and, you know, 5 games in a year, you know, that wasn't normal for, you know, FSU football under Coach Bowden. And so he was getting older, and of course, recruiting wasn't the way it is today, but it started to catch up with him. And I think that's very similar. And you're starting to see, like I said, you're starting to see a lot of the older coaches starting to just, hey, I'm done with it in a lot of ways and enjoy what I've been able to accomplish.
Well, you mentioned older coaches, which brings me to another name that might be on the hot seat the same way, and that's Jim Larranaga. If you saw his press conference the other day when they jumped out to a 7-0 lead and then precisely went and scored no more than 31 points
for the rest of the game. Insane.
I'll be honest with you, I've never seen a regular season coach so dejected. Then, I mean, he just said at the end of the bench, like, I can't believe it. He had this, I can't believe this is my life look. And I'm like,
that's kind of,
bro, you were just in the Final Four last year. It's okay. He just, he didn't look like he wanted to keep coaching.
That's kind of how his face just looks, though.
I mean, it is. It might be. It might be his default position. So I don't know. But he did not look happy, and the press conference looked even worse. So, is this another guy that's has placed himself on the hot seat because he's just at a point where he's like you said, Charlie, just, I don't,
Yeah.
because I know he came into this season with high expectations. Like, okay, we made a beautiful run last year. We should be able to get back this year or at least get close. And it has not worked out that way. Like, it's not, and it's no fault of it. Well, I don't know whose fault it is. Miami's a weird team. Like, they are a weird
Miami
team.
is weird, just a weird place in
It's
general.
a weird place right now. The whole thing is weird. Football, basketball, all of it's very weird.
And it's great that we put him and Hamilton there together because they are very similar. It's like these coaches have pretty much, especially Larry Naga, have put their programs pretty much on the map, and
they built them more or less. Yeah,
so it's like you don't really want to, you don't want to be disrespectful and let them go. But at the same time, if they're up there in age, how much longer they want to deal with college, the state of college sports? And like with Nick Saban getting out, like Charlie already said, all these older coaches are getting out, and how much longer they want to keep doing this? I mean,
yeah,
I could really and truly coaching wise, if it's just straight X's and O's, there's no doubt in my mind, and both of these coaches can turn their programs around.
They can turn around in a heartbeat. Yeah,
it's all the other stuff that goes with it. Like, how much longer do you want to deal with that?
Yeah. I think that's the same thing that Jim Boeheim experienced. He got to a point where he was like, "Hey, I mean, it's time for somebody else," and I kind of helped groom the next guy that I feel can take it over and take us to the next level or into the next century or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, it's tough. I mean, now with Dartmouth, unionizing the basketball program.
Yeah,
that was unionizing, huge. And I mean, it's this whole notion now that, man, it's just a lot. I mean, it's starting to change right in front of our eyes. A lot of things, and it's just I guess the older coach, it's hard to turn that mindset off of what college sports used to look like.
Yeah.
And you want to hold on to some of that. But as we see in this day and age, college sports is changing right before our eyes in a lot of ways. And I definitely get it and understand it 100% with college. They're talking about college students being employees. I mean, I'm just curious to see how college students respond to that, because if they're going to be employees, are they going to have to pay their own way to school now?
Or if they'll come out of their checks. Since they're employees, they'll just come out of their checks.
See,
I would think.
That's what I'm saying. I understand what they're trying to do, 100%.
Yeah.
But are they willing to pay for school? I guess scholarship. They get the scholarship money or what have you.
I wonder if they just figure. I mean, like I said, if it just be part of their check, like you get such and such money, and one of those deductions is your college tuition every
right.
2 weeks,
right.
But and how much only older coach that I've seen that seems to really be embracing. I don't even know if I call it embracing, but it's coming out with more and more solutions is Rick Pitino. He put out that tweet the other day. But outside of that, I mean, you even got Gino. It's not like the way Gino's talking. I don't think Gino's going to be doing this much longer.
I think
college sports is not going to be the same 5 years from now.
But well, because it's
No.
just not it's not the same now, and they see it getting worse. Like it's gonna get way worse before it gets better. And now with these new streaming deals, with all the stuff that's going on, with the options that are going to be out, the type of money that's going to be thrown. And then yesterday, we saw I don't know if you guys saw this, but the big deal that went down with ESPN and Fox and saying we're just going to create this massive whatever this thing is going to be called, and we're going to have all the sports on that. Well, okay, what does that mean? So is that the ACC's way of, will they get a chance to renegotiate? Like what? It's crazy. It's just a banana situation right now that doesn't have an end in sight. And you got to ask yourself as a coach, do you really want to be involved in that? Because more TV deals means more money being spread around, more NIL deals, more et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
ACC, by the time their TV deal comes up, I don't know if it'll be TV anymore.
It'll be flying cars.
I don't know where it's going to be happening. It's a great point. That's a great point.
I just picture all these older coaches in like Danny Glover and Lethal Weapon. I'm just getting
too old for this. I thought about that. That line. I did think about that line. Just a couple
and Danny Glover was in his 40s when he said that.
I know. I thought about a couple other names. So we'll run through those real quick as far as people who should be on the hot seat. About Earl Grant, Boston College, 13 and 20 in his first year, 16 and 17. Well, I'm asking.
Why is Earl Grant?
That's what I'm asking. I mean,
Boston College. That's I was listening to talk radio, sports college radio. I think it was Dusty and Dan or somebody yesterday, and they were talking about Brian O'Brien, who's took over the OC job at was supposed to take over the OC job at Ohio State. And they were asking because Boston College wants him to be their head coach now since Hafley left, and so they were asking, is the Ohio State OC job a better job than the head coach of BC? And of course they talking through, and they were like,
that was an actual question.
The quarterback coach
yes.
Promotion.
It was just to keep conversation, I do believe. But
they clearly had nothing else to talk about.
I'm just saying, if you have a coach, especially like at BC, and the guy's doing halfway decent, I mean, you got to try to ride that out a little bit longer.
Yeah, you got to keep him as long as you can.
Right.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
If he's doing anything, it should be his leave, not you.
I agree. Well, speaking of football, let's go to football, and I want to talk about some people that may be on the hot seat coming up this fall. So this one actually made me curious because Jeff Hafley has had 3 winning seasons, but they're not like great winning seasons. So how he parlayed that into a coordinator job in the NFL is shocking to me. But because I was going to for sure put him on the hot seat until I realized until yesterday, and I was like, oh well, he took himself off the hot seat and got out of there. Right. But were you guys surprised that he was able to parlay that into a coordinator position?
A couple of years of Zay Flowers will do a lot for your career.
Is he an offensive coordinator or defense? I thought he was defense.
You're right. You're right. He is defensive coordinator. I think they were okay defensively. I think.
Yeah, they never had bad defense. They just couldn't. They just would.
It could have been a thing
bad on offense. Huh?
Defense was one of their calling cards. They just don't have the players.
Right. He could have good schemes.
I mean, they had some good defensive linemen.
They did.
And, periodically throughout his tenure, they had some solid defenses. They just didn't have the depth and the athleticism that some of the other top-tier teams had. So they were inconsistent. And then offensively, they were always inept. know,
So you don't have to
especially the
have
quarterback
a wing.
position. And when teams stopped the run, I mean, they had good running games, linemen. So they had solid, but it's hard to win in Boston College.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could have been a thing. He's got good schemes and good, you know, formations and all that type of stuff. And it's just if you don't have the players to execute it, then it's a whole different ball game. And maybe that's what appealed when he went in for his interview.
Well, speaking of not having the players to execute, what do you guys think about Dave Clawson? Should he be on the hot seat going in? 4-8 last year.
Yeah.
Or is Wake Forest just that cyclical university?
Yes.
That
yes.
You just wait for the fourth year where the kids have gotten good because they've been there 4 years, and you know they're going to have a pretty good season that year.
Yeah, they're what I like to call an Olympic program. Every 4 years, they're gonna be fantastic.
They'll be fantastic.
I mean, they did have Sam. They lost Sam Hartman, and so I mean, he was everything to them when he was there, and so he's not on the hot seat. He shouldn't be.
Yeah, but that's another program where it's hard to win because I mean it's a smaller program, and you're talking about football, and I mean you're an ACC, which you should be able to compete, at least in the midway of the conference, or the middle of the conference, which they've been able to do when they had Hartman. You know, he was there for 8 years. Then when they got a 9th year at Notre Dame.
I tell you what, Notre Dame loves old ACC quarterbacks.
They love it. They can't get enough. They like their quarterbacks 24 and up. So, I mean, it's a thing for them. What about Narducci? 3-9 last year.
I was listening to something and it said they should be a little bit better, but as we all know, they were good when Kenny Pickett was there and Addison,
and they've had good defense.
So and they had very good defense. So it's really predicated around who the point guard is or the quarterback.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of blame you a little bit for this, Charlie.
Why?
Look, you complained so much about them looking to the sideline, and you wanted them to take that out of their offense. They took it out, and look what happened: 3-9 immediately.
When they didn't have Kenny Pickett,
there was something about that sideline piece that was necessary.
There's nothing about that sideline piece. It was the guy that was running to the sideline.
Well, I'm just saying there was some success that they were garnering.
I can tell you, there's not anything I miss more on this show than Charlie talking about them running to the sideline.
Oh, listen, I missed it all season long. And then they were terrible. But what about this guy here, Mario Cristobal?
Yeah, well, kind of one more.
You want to go back to Pat for a second?
No. Pitt is one of those programs that seems like they should be better than they are every year. I mean, you're in a big city. You're in a very wealthy recruiting ground. I mean, Penn State can't get every recruit. I mean, I know you're recruiting against Penn State and Ohio State and recruiting against the Big Ten, but it seems like Pittsburgh, if they got the right person in there, which I don't, if it could be Narduzzi, may not, I don't know. But it just seems like Pittsburgh should be better than they are year in and year out. It seems like I don't understand how that program is not able to maintain some stability.
I'm gonna be honest with you. He could be on the hot seat because I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
At some point, they have to ask, okay, why aren't we at least closing our back door? Like, there's some folk in this state we should be getting.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's a great football state.
Well, and then
you're right next to Ohio.
Pitt is also an easier path to a national championship than Penn State is.
Right.
So, I don't know. Something is not quite right, and I don't know. That may be Narducci. Maybe they don't believe. I don't know. but there's a disconnect somewhere. So he could be on the hot seat. I don't know. We'll see about that one.
Let's get to our favorite subject. He's not on the hot seat because he costs too much.
Say it again.
Miami. He's not on the hot seat because he costs too much.
But they just had a good recruiting cycle. I mean,
they always do. Recruiting cycle.
He's no matter what Cristobal is, he's gonna have a great recruiting cycle. That's what he does.
That's part of the problem because they have a good recruiting cycle, which ends in we're back. We are back. Call the alumni. We are back. Get Warren Sapp on the sideline. We are back.
I mean,
and they're not back. They haven't been back for quite some time.
Their roster last year is full of NFL players.
Yeah.
Up and down the roster.
But they got some good players again this year.
But it's not. Why is it okay? So then I ask you this question, Charlie. Why is it not translating to wins against the good teams?
I would say the past couple of years they've been like 5-0, and then they fall off,
and then they fall completely off the face of the earth. The schedule is front loaded. It's like, and they make you think they're back. They make you believe, okay, Miami might be here. We go. And then no,
nobody believes it.
So you putting them in the Syracuse category?
They are very much. They put themselves there.
They're very Syracuse and Pittish. Except
Mario's looking real Dino Babers right now.
Except they get top 20 recruiting classes every season.
That's the only difference. That's the only difference.
And then they'll lose the FAU.
I think this year yeah,
which has happened.
I think this year they should be much better. They should be much better. I mean, I think they have a quarterback. Then they have an offensive line, and they're going to always have skilled players. They lost some good ones.
Well, they lost Tyler Van Dyke. Of course, they lost him in the season. So they lost Tyler Van Dyke. He transferred out for his 9th season somewhere else.
His backup is supposed to be pretty good, though.
I don't know, man.
But they got Cam Ward there.
Yeah, they got Cam Ward. I forgot.
They got Cam Ward. Yeah. I don't. The Miami is the most
whole
situation right now.
That whole Cam Ward situation is an adventure in itself.
It is an adventure. Yeah,
I think it's setting up for another Miami season where they get excited. I don't even sense that they get as excited anymore.
Well, and then that's the other thing.
I think they're gonna.
For a team to be back as much as they are, the fans don't really believe it because they don't even show up to the game. Now, I do think tearing down the Orange Bowl was a massive mistake. That was a little presumptive.
I think health-wise and safety-wise, they had to tear down the Orange.
Well, that may be true too. Asbestos is not does not
maybe
make
they should play. Maybe they should play at that new soccer stadium they're building down there. Which is also in swampland.
Are Miami football stadiums anything equivalent to like Texas football stadiums at all? Like, are they nice like that?
You talking about
the high school stadium? Yeah.
No.
Like, I'm just trying to get them in a place where put them in a place where they can have some effect from the crowd.
Nothing. Nobody in the country has stadiums like Texas.
Nothing like that. Okay.
Yeah. Texas is on another level from a high
I'm trying to help
standpoint.
where I can. I just need them to stop playing the empty crowds. It's embarrassing at this point. Or just giving tickets away like U of L used to do when they were bad.
They were doing that.
They were giving them away. They're still not coming.
They were giving away tickets. Yeah, they was doing the same thing. When they played Louisville, there was more Louisville fans there than Miami. It was crazy.
It's bad. It's really bad right now. Okay. And then the last one is kind of sentimental. I personally think you do nothing but just allow him to coach and leave him alone and let him try to figure it out. But I don't know.
What they went through and the way they competed last year, and like because another one, like Charlie says, as long as they're competing, and they're competing, they were in games. They weren't getting just blown out. And with everything they've been through,
he's in a good. he's in a good place. I know their AD and him are. She sees the big picture. She sees what he's doing with the young man.
Yeah.
And eventually they'll, if they can win seven games, 8 games here, that's a win. That's a win for them because, it's hard. That's another hard job
That's very
because of
hard.
the academic standards that they have to live up to. And so it's tough to get certain kids in. But what he's doing with the kids to help them develop, not just on the field but off the field, is what I gathered from listening to them talk.
And I feel like they
So
got over the psychological hurdles, so they can just this year coming up, they should just be able to focus on football, nothing else, and that's going to be important because I think
they were
last
just a
year
year
was
removed from
last year was
they
just
were
a mental,
just a year
weekly mental
removed from
battle.
a couple kids getting killed on the team, and one of the kids, one of the guys that got shot, came back, so he had to relive that whole.
Is he still on the team or is he graduated? I don't remember what year he was in, so I apologize.
I want to say he graduated, but I feel like he
was a senior too. Yeah. Oh, he may still come back.
But they also had to deal with Paris Jones getting hurt in that Louisville game where he was paralyzed for
a good
amount of time. They had to deal with that because they had Louisville beaten till that moment.
They sure did. Listen, you could not have had a rougher year than Tony Elliott had last. It was bad on a lot of levels.
He deserves 2 extra years.
I feel like he should have bought himself some time. That's just my personal opinion. So, okay, so it should be interesting going into next year. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about, we're about to have the entrance of SMU, California, and Stanford.
Yeah, it was wild seeing U of L's football schedule and seeing SMU here, and then they travel to Stanford. It's wild seeing that on the schedule.
It's very wild. What do you guys think that is going to do for the conference? Is that going to make things better, or like what? Just your gut telling you about adding those 3 teams?
Well, women's basketball wise, we've talked about on here.
We're phenomenal.
We're excited for that. Can't wait for that.
Phenomenal.
You see Stanford and Louisville and Duke and Carolina and all them play all the time.
Yeah, that's going to be outstanding.
That's going to be fun. Football wise,
volleyball wise too is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, volleyball wise is going to be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Football wise, I'm thinking it's not going to. I think it's just added teams to the schedule. To be honest with you, and then men's basketball wise, I think SMU's had some years there, and Stanford's fallen off, and Cal's fallen off, and so it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what it's going to do as far as their appeal to ESPN to change their contract, but I mean, like I said, women's sports wise, it's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait for it to start.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think? Question. It was breaking up, but
just asking. What do you think?
We're talking about the newcomers.
Yeah.
What do you think What do you think they add, or how much better will the conference be with them?
They add something different to the schedule. I think that's something that we all kind of look forward to. Seeing SMU, seeing Stanford, seeing Cal. I mean, those games are not normal on like FSU or any other schedule here in ACC. So that'd be interesting to see how that all fare and play out for the first year. But also just seeing how the other conferences, how that looks, because I was sitting there the other night and listening to them talk about the new teams going to these different conferences, and I mean, they're all over the place. Guys try to figure it out, but
Oh man,
it's kind of exciting to see them all in these conferences and get an opportunity to play different teams, and it actually means something. Like this Colorado TCU game last year, one last year was just a regular season game, but now it's going to be a conference game,
right?
Which means it'll go towards the conference standings, and so seeing those type of games and they mean something will be different, but exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm, and just as a fan, I'm just excited to see the new matchups, like a game with stakes on the line between Michigan and Oregon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
the styles. Styles that
I'm definitely interested to see how the Pac-10 teams fare against the Big Ten teams when they first mesh, because eventually they're all going to hybrid into one another anyway. I'm interested. I mean, Texas versus Georgia is going to be an SEC game.
Oh man, yeah.
All that stuff is exciting. I was just looking at the ACC picture, but the bigger picture of like all of it, while it is crazy, geographically doesn't make any sense. TV wise, it's gonna be awesome to see these games. I mean, we're gonna really be tuning in to watch Big Ten games. Who does that?
and it will be highly competitive because everyone will be playing for something now. Mm-hmm. There won't be this. We know who the 4 teams are. Basically, who the 4 teams are. We basically know who 4 teams that are probably going to get in. But the other 8 could be kind of mysterious. We may not know who those other 8 teams are. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
More teams are going to be in the fold for the national championship.
Yeah.
I just hope I hope the 8 teams don't come from 2 conferences.
Well,
right. Well,
can't make those kind of promises, Charlie.
All 12 might come from 2 conferences.
Right. All right. Well, since I'm sitting in front of Allegiant Stadium right now,
how's the weather there?
It's pretty good.
Let me think, about 73, 75.
Very nice. So I'll ask you guys.
How do you think Commissioner Phillips feels because he didn't get invited to the Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Super Bowl party?
Well,
Big Ten and the SEC.
Well, listen.
What about the Big 12 commissioner? How you think he feels that he didn't get invited to the Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Super Bowl party?
I think he feels like the message was received.
Like the first drop in the bucket of the NCAA going away is happening.
It's very clear what the message is, right?
You know what I would do if I was one of them?
So throw your own party.
I would get intel, and while they were meeting, I would just go and show up. They'd be like, "Hey, what you doing here?"
I just knew my invitation got lost in the mail, so I just showed up.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll just go and show up.
Right.
Look at Charlie, a rebel.
The ACC and the Big 12 need to have their own Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, Super Bowl party.
It's gonna be a long year.
I'm going
now that
to
it's
join your party since you already got it planned. I don't need to go plan my own. Let me go join your party.
Are you just gonna bust up in there talking about the upper room?
Yeah. Be like, hey, I got my talking points.
I got my talking points. Oh my goodness! Listen. You're right, Charlie. I can't even argue with that. I don't know, man. I want to believe. I want to have faith that this process of 12 teams is going to be fair, and it's the fairest system we've ever had. But I know how the world works too. So
you
that's
said
the
fair.
problem.
You see
I know how the world works too. So, and if they already having meetings before, it don't feel like we headed down a good path.
No,
so I don't know.
I believe it.
Feels like it's coming to it.
I believe it.
To an end.
Yeah. What is that, Charlie?
I believe it when I see it. When you talk about fair.
Oh well, you may not see it. You may not ever believe it then, because I'm not sure you're gonna see it. I'm not sure you're gonna see it. I just, like I said, I'm trying to hold out some hope, but boy, they make it hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for the first conference to finally say, why do we need the NCAA? As soon as that is spoken out loud, I think that's when the dominoes will start to fall.
Well, get ready. That's what that meeting was.
That might be what that meeting was, right?
What that meeting was.
We don't need this NCAA
I missed
thing.
it. I missed it. What did you say?
I said I'm waiting for somebody to say out loud, we don't need this NCAA thing. And Kendrick said that's what that meeting was.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Them having that.
But I saw somewhere where it said whatever his name is, I want to call the man Swafford, but that's ACC commissioner. What's the SEC commissioner?
Oh, what is his name?
Well, y'all know what I'm talking about. But he
it begins with an S. You're right.
He did mention or put out something that said that this meeting was not to replace Sankey, was not to try to replace the NCAA, but to offer suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but your suggestions are not suggestions.
Your suggestions are about how to make the SEC more money.
Right. It's not suggestions. Just like you went up to college game day and suggested two SEC teams make the playoffs. Is that the type of suggestion you're talking
about? I'm just saying what the man said. He said
right.
They're not trying to replace the NCAA. They're just trying to offer some suggestions on how we can continue to move this thing forward into the future of college sports. I mean, football. I mean, sports.
Charlie, look at our face. That means we don't believe him.
You lying.
We lying. You know he lying. Oh my goodness.
Lie like
again.
A
all we can do is hold our hope, guys. That's all we can do at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are your Super Bowl predictions, gentlemen? Who you think will win this game this weekend?
Charlie.
I don't know. It's hard to go against Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my God.
For some reason, I want to pull for Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers to win. That's who I'm pulling for.
Yeah, I think the better story is Brock Purdy winning. Mr. Irrelevant somehow winning this game.
We all like that story.
Come on, that's man. A much better story.
I do like that story. I you know what? It's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. It is hard, but I hope that if San Francisco were to lose, I hope it's not Purdy's fault, because I'm so sick of all the negativity going towards him. This man ain't done nothing to nobody. He just goes out there, does his job, and goes home and makes less than everybody in the league. And these people are constantly throwing shade on him. Like, man, let this man live.
Doesn't the kicker make more than he makes on his team? That's where he's at with his life.
And plus, he's living in expensive San Francisco. The man has a roommate. He can't afford a place because the cost of living out there is so ridiculous. Let this man live. He don't get paid enough for all this.
I believe it was the Prophet Rockwell that said, "I just want to be left alone in my average home."
Let that man live.
I will certainly be rooting for Brock Purdy and the 49ers. However,
I'm rooting for Purdy. I've growing up, San Francisco was always kind of my second team because I love Jerry Rice and Joe Montana and Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, Ronnie Lott, all those guys, John Taylor. But this year, my friends who are 49er friends, who've always been, rational people, been low key, have been on one this year. I don't know what it is about this season. Even the year when they went to the Super Bowl with Kaepernick, they weren't obnoxious. This year, they've been insane. So go Chiefs.
Wow. Well, listen, they on paper, they have the better team.
Yeah.
On paper, they do.
So did Baltimore.
That's all I'm saying. I didn't see a path for Kansas City to beat Baltimore, and look what happened. So
Baltimore tried to play out.
Well, Baltimore didn't show up to play from an offensive standpoint. Defensively, they were sound and solid.
They were fantastic. Yeah,
they didn't play their game on offense,
and they got away from what they should have been doing, which was running the football.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's something that San Francisco is not going to do. I mean, they're going to run the football.
Yeah.
They do it different ways, but they're going to run the football. Like, that is what they do. And then Brock Purdy, of course, does what he does in the passing game with all the weapons that he has. I mean, he has legit weapons when you start looking at their wide receiver group.
Right.
And so I just don't think they're going to give them an opportunity to breathe defensively. Not saying that they can do it, but San Francisco all year has been consistent in playing a certain way. Like when they lost those 3 games in a row, they kind of got away from that part. But that's part of the season, I do believe.
Injuries.
But then after that, after they lost those 3 games in a row, I mean, I don't know if they lost again.
They got healthy and well, they had that one game. They had that one game where Baltimore just housed them in San Francisco.
Right.
But other than that,
well, I'll tell you what,
I just think they've been the better team all year. Consistently. One
of the best ways to beat Patrick Mahomes is to never let him on the field. And I think they have the type of team that can do that. They just if they could just take their time and have just a bunch of methodical drives down the field, not be in a rush. That's what Baltimore should have did. I don't know why they were in such a rush to score. Just take
everything Charlie said about San Francisco was what we were saying about Baltimore. It's just Baltimore got outside of themselves.
Exactly.
So if San Francisco goes in there and doesn't get outside of themselves, they should be fine.
Yeah. They robbed us of a Baltimore San Francisco Super Bowl. And yes, I did not want to see Taylor Swift all Super Bowl. I didn't. I'm one of those.
I don't know if she's gonna make it. I thought she had a concert.
She'll make it.
I pray to God she has a concert, but she'll be there.
She'll be there. I don't understand.
That woman has trolled us in ways that this is legendary trolling.
Has she though? What has she done besides show up to the game? She's not doing anything.
No. I'm not. Listen, but I know how the world works. She has played this perfectly because guess what? Monday night, when she won a Grammy, she just happened to say, I was not going to say this. But my new album will be out in April.
She didn't say I wasn't going to say this. She said, I'm going to tell you all a secret.
Same thing. It's the same thing.
That's marketing. But, I mean, marketing 101.
I got news for you. She's been marketing the whole time. And the next album will be called Kelsey Killer.
Even if she is, so what? They showed her for 24 seconds. That was it. They showed her for 24 seconds. And at
Yeah,
one
it's a
point, she
real-
told him to quit showing her.
It's a real annoying 24 seconds though. I
just can't see. I don't understand
need
it. I mean, I don't understand all the energy given towards showing it. I mean, whatever. What else you want them to show? Just some random fan in the stands?
Anybody, just anybody.
Who cares?
There's so many other people I'd love to see. I'd love to see Sierra at the game. I ain't seen Sierra.
Sierra probably wasn't going.
She got too many kids to go to the game.
We got too many kids, and Russell
you
ain't
got to
been
think
back performing.
the Kelsey family is joy to see.
Right, they've been
I mean,
showing
the
their
brother-
mama
like
for
them.
3 years.
I like the Kelsey family. They're cool.
The brother is a hoot.
I mean, I question.
I love
Travis's
that
men-
dude. I love both Kelseys. I love the whole Kelsey family.
I
Now,
question Travis's mental state because
I know. He's Travis is Travis.
financial upgrade. I wouldn't say it's
Jason's just a big old everybody knew the big old crazy white dude that you hung around with. That's what Jason Kelsey is.
Oh, man. Jason's gonna make so much money when he leaves the NFL.
He's so funny. The best shot was in Buffalo when they were taking another shot of Taylor. And you could just see Jason just casually sitting back there with no shirt on.
With no shirt on.
I'm like, man, what are you doing?
Living his best life.
Yes, and we all know that guy. Every one of us knows that guy.
You want to party with that guy.
Yeah.
Party with that guy. So
well,
all
I
right.
wouldn't go that far, but I do know a guy. I do know a guy.
Everybody knows that guy. My guy was Robbie Cundiff that I went to high school with.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
knows that guy.
Major was my guy in college.
I had
that guy. For sure.
I've had a few linemen.
They're always linemen if they play.
They're
football.
always linemen.
There's always linemen.
I think it's part of the credo. I don't know. It's like
we had a guy when I was in college. We had actually was a linebacker like that. And when I was in college, his name was Ronnie Merritt, and that was him. Everybody knows that guy. That's why everybody loves him because everybody knows that guy.
Yeah. Before we go, are your Knicks gonna make one more trade, Charlie? Are you happy where your Knicks are? You're not as happy as Stephen A, but you're pretty happy, right?
Orange and blue skies, baby.
When once we get in healthy,
yeah,
I think I think we got a good team. I don't know if we have a championship team. And like I said, I think we have some good pieces, but we have to be healthy, down the stretch. Hartenstein, I think is very good. I like him, and he could definitely help you because he plays his role really, really well with the other guys that they have. But Julius Randle, of course, has to get healthy. He's going to have to play with a, torn labrum the rest of the year if he's going to come back and play, which is not an easy deal. And then, of course, we just had Jalen Brunson go down with an ankle injury.
Yeah.
So not sure if he's playing. That was Thursday. That was last game.
A while now. How long is OG going to be out? Is he going to? Have they said if he's coming back anytime soon?
I would think OG's probably going to be out till after the All-Star break, probably.
Well, that's just next week.
I think you're right, Charlie. They just need to focus on getting healthy.
That's my part that I worry about them. I don't think they're quite championship roster, but I think they can make a lot of noise. But I worry about their health because they've had a lot of health issues.
You can say that about.
Here's what I'm going to say to that. I think they might be because some of the rest of the league might fall. They're falling back. Like the 76ers are probably done.
Yeah.
They're probably done. It doesn't appear that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to figure this thing out anytime soon, even with the coaching change. So then that only leaves, very suspect coaching change. So then that only leaves a few teams. The one that scares you, the only team that really scares you,
Celtics.
And see, I don't know how much they scare you. It was as many threes as they shoot. My God,
It feels
they
like
shoot,
if you can hit the Celtics in the mouth, they'll
then
kind of
they'll
fold.
fold. So the
But-
one that scares me is
it-
Miami. That's always Miami because they
If
don't
get
know
the
how
play-
not to
if
believe
they make
in
the
themselves.
playoffs, but they may not make the playoffs.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. Miami don't scare me. Celtics, yes. Milwaukee, yes, because they have those guys.
Mhm.
But if you take, with Embiid now having to try to come back from a meniscus tear or whatever he has issue, he's not going to be the same this year.
Right, he's not going to be the
He's gonna
same
be
rest of the
laboring.
season. Yeah,
Right. And so I don't know if they have enough. I know Maxi's playing out of his mind and having a good year. But I don't know if they have enough to be able to, overcome that major injury. So, everybody else is kind of beatable in the 7-game series when you start looking at it. And even Milwaukee, they're
very
beatable.
beatable. Yes,
They're very beatable. Yeah,
the defensive problems. Yeah, the
So the
Pacers are a scary team, but again,
now the Pacers, that's a different.
they scare you because
they would be.
They can score.
so you got to
Again,
score a ton of points to
defensively,
beat them. Yeah.
but defensively though, they might score 124, but they may give up 128.
Right. Very easily. Very easily. So it's gonna be an interesting day today. A matter of fact,
Hey, shout out to your Pistons, Charlie. They went in Sacramento and won last night, but 13.
Yeah.
Sacramento's another team that
Man.
Oh, they're too young. They're not ready.
They
They're
lost-
not
they
man was
lost to
excited about it.
Miami.
Yeah,
It should be. Shout out
they're
to
not
Monty.
ready yet.
Shout out
I
to
was
Monty.
happy for him.
My brother Noob, see, I was
So
forgetting.
you gotta leave.
Okay,
You gotta leave Detroit to get a win.
all right, you guys got any other shout outs I want to give before we get out of here?
Yeah, shout out to our boys soccer team and our girls basketball team for winning their games. And our girls basketball team will be playing in the district championship on Friday or tomorrow.
Nice.
Our boys soccer team will be playing the second round of the regional tournament. So they made the semifinals. So the elite, the Sweet 16 in soccer. And so we play tonight.
It's your
Hopefully we
senior
can
night,
win.
isn't it? Isn't it your senior night? Did I see that?
No, we had senior night a couple games ago.
Okay.
Or
I was saying
one game.
it's
I knew I
time
saw it.
now, right? This is it.
Yeah, we're in the district tournament, so we play McClay, which is the host school of the tournament. And then shout out to Lady Seminoles softball. Their first games start today, so they're excited about that and looking
Charlie,
forward
are
to
you
it.
concerned about McClay at all?
Always concerned about an opponent, regardless of who they are. However, we should win the game. We've had some really good practices, spirited practices.
Okay.
Last 3 days. So I know our guys are prepared and ready to play. And
That's good.
so hopefully we're playing for the district championship, which is our goal. But our guys are focused.
That's what I wanted the Seminole Nation to hear.
Say again.
That's what I wanted the Seminole Nation to hear, that you feel ready. There you go.
Yeah. Well, this is not the same. This is not the same McClay team that we played last year. That beat us twice. We ended up beating them in the playoffs, but they're a little different this year. So
Okay.
we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Ken, you got anybody else you want to shout out?
I'll shout out a combination of the University of Louisville women's team and ESPN because they have the Final Four crew working the game tonight as they take on Notre Dame. Shout out to the early start time of 6 o'clock. I love a good 6 o'clock tip because it means I'll be back at the station by 9.
Yeah, that's always nice.
That's always nice. So shout out to ESPN in general for the way they've been putting women's sports on the pedestal here lately. Hopefully they keep that up, and hopefully women's basketball can continue its upward trajectory. I mean, this college basketball season for women's basketball has been fantastic. South Carolina, LSU, Iowa,
Stanford, everybody,
yeah. UConn's been kind of up and down, but they're still right there. Notre Dame, with the job that they've done this year at Notre Dame, has been phenomenal. Their point guard they have she's just relentless. Jeff Balls was talking about her yesterday. He's like, she puts pressure on you because she doesn't stop moving.
Right.
And like she's always in motion, and as soon as you let up, she makes you pay for it. So just shout out to all the women's college basketball because it's been so fun to watch this season.
Well, my shout out is very simple, and I do it tongue in cheek and with a little sarcasm and dare I say a hint of petty. Shout out to Club Shay Shay, who has understood how to maximize negative news into dollars and cents. He is killing the game, the podcast game, by bringing you the worst elements of ourselves. Now, I don't like that. In fact, I wish he would stop. This is starting to get embarrassing. But from a financial perspective, he's killing it. And he's already podcast of the year. So,
like DJ Quick said, if it don't take dollars, it don't make sense.
He has followed up a 50 million views with one that's already, I think, close to 5 million. So that's called winning.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a way to make a living, though, because I don't know if I want to just keep putting out negative and bad stuff week in and week out just to get views. That feels like you're selling your soul. So
yeah.
But give me one story of what he's talking about.
First there was the Cat Williams and his complaints about everything on earth, and he's followed that up now with Monique, who is still complaining about things that happened 10 years ago. And she's reliving them in real time for all of us to see.
Monique is basically making a career out of complaining. Just all she's done for the last 10, 15 years.
So that's the comedian, though, right? Monique?
Yeah.
Well, that's questionable.
I call her a former comedian at this point.
I was going to say she's more active than comedian at this point.
Oh, okay.
But it's unbelievable. But Shannon is he's riding away right now, so
more power to him. I mean,
it's a wild way to make a living, but good luck to him.
He's getting all the comedians. I mean, just about. I mean, the only ones he hasn't had is like Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle. So he's had just about everybody.
And they may not ever come on the show with all this going on. They might
Chappelle would. Chappelle don't care. Kevin Hart won't, but Chappelle doesn't care.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of the whole. Yeah, I guess you call it a genre now at this point.
Which brings me back to the shout out to the podcasts who aren't doing that and are just trying to keep things right and positive and
Shout out to all the Smoke podcasts.
I love all the Smoke. All the Smoke is doing a phenomenal job. Love those guys.
I love what they do.
Yeah, one of my favorite podcasts. So, all right, people, y'all have a great day. We rooting for Charlie tonight. Y'all know what it is. And go Seminoles. All things Seminoles. So, and we'll be back. And next week we'll have a Super Bowl winner and everything. We'll
how about that?
All right. Until then. Believe in the ACC. We out. You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard. And join us next time